Welcome to the NZ Travel Show, an interactive show where you can ask your NZ travel questions to the experts behind nzpocketguide.com, New Zealand's largest travel guide. The NZ Travel Show will start in exactly 2 minutes. Just the time for you to hit the like button, ring the notification bell, and subscribe if you have not done so yet. NZPocketGuide.com has over 3,000 articles covering all aspects of travelling in New Zealand, from a working holiday gap year to tips for a perfect family holiday. The site also features dozens of pre-made itineraries that you can use to plan your ideal trip in New Zealand. It's all available for free at nzpocketguide.com, so check it out. The NZ Travel Show is hosted by Robin, the Operations Manager of South Pacific Pocket Guide, the company behind nzpocketguide.com. The New Zealand Travel Show is also hosted by Laura, a journalist and editor-in-chief of South Pacific Pocket Guide and all its publications, including nzpocketguide.com. We're exactly 1 minute away from the NZ Travel Show. Get yourself comfortable and start asking your NZ travel questions in the chat. Robin and Laura will go over them when the show starts. In 30 seconds, our experts will be live from New Zealand to give you all the practical New Zealand travel tips you need, from the best transport options to the best accommodations and activities to choose for the perfect New Zealand holiday. Live from New Zealand, this is the NZ Travel Show with your travel experts, Robin and Laura.
That's right, Laura. It's the NZ Travel Show. It is 8 a.m. on a Sunday, the 5th of February here in New Zealand. And we are here to answer all your questions about traveling in New Zealand. Laura, are you feeling dry?
Not particularly. I don't think anyone in New Zealand is feeling dry for the past couple of weeks. Pretty crazy rain. I'm sure you've all heard it's about the only thing coming out of New Zealand is just news about the rain at the moment.
Rain, and more rain.
Yeah, which is a great day for us to talk about the weather. Spoiler alert for this theme.
So we're gonna check who's here first. So Emma Prince was the first comment of this week. Awesome, saying hi. Very simple. I love it. Fabio, one of our lovely Patreon, actually the original Patreon.
The OG.
Yeah, the OG says Morena from Vienna, and so is Matua X saying Morena as well. What does Morena means, Laura?
It means good morning in the Maori language.
Malcolm Beatty says,
hi, we are planning to move to New Zealand by the end of 2023. My wife's a nurse and I'm from hospitality and wanted to ask how will the floods in Auckland affect the rent prices in Auckland?
It would be hard for the rent prices in Auckland to get any higher, but don't put it past landlords to be able to increase the price as much as they can. I don't think it has affected tremendously the offering of housing in Auckland, so I don't think that's going to make a major impact in there. But obviously, insurance costs are going to go up, and that may be passed on to tenants. So, we'll have to wait and see. If you're asking this question, you probably know already that New Zealand has a bit of a shortage of housing, and the rent prices are a bit crazy. I would strongly recommend not to move into Auckland and to move to other parts of New Zealand where you'll have a better work-life balance. You'll have access to better housing, like larger housing for better prices, and just overall actually experience New Zealand, while Auckland is a very different experience. But all right, so every single week we try to frame the conversation around one specific subject, something fun that we can talk about and which is also topical. So let's check out what is the theme of this week. Sorry. The word theme is what I was looking for, the word theme. Yes. Okay, so this week we are going to be talking about the weather in February. So we're going to be talking about the usual kind of normal over the last 10 years kind of weather pattern that you can expect when traveling in New Zealand in February. Obviously, we have had some extreme weather around the tail end of January, and the weather is still like, you know, really wet for February as it's supposed to be summer. But throughout this live show, we're going to be talking about February. But first up, let's check out some of the comments that we have.
Matu-X has a comment. It's all in Maori, so I'm going to attempt to say it, but sorry for butchering the pronunciation. He says, "No mai ki te karahi pukoru o Aotearoa," which means welcome to New Zealand Pocket Guide in Maori. That's cool. I'm glad to know that now.
Nathan says, "Kia ora, everyone."
Also, Fabio is saying, he says his name is OG Fabio here, not original like OG, because OG is the second floor in Austria.
Interesting. Malcolm says, great, he's happy. Nathan says, we had a summer concert yesterday here in Taupo. Nice one. How was the weather for that yesterday?
Yeah, was it good?
And Fabio says, guys, don't forget to like. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
I forgot about telling you guys.
Do all that YouTube stuff.
Yeah, do the shtick. Okay, so just before we start talking about the typical temperatures in February, we're going to have a little bit of a red thread today, and that's going to be our poll. Yes, that's right. We're back with some polls. By the way, polls, not the Polish, the polls. Right?
Yeah. I got the context.
So February in New Zealand traditionally has a lot of different festivals. You know, it's kind of like, because it's summer, right? It's basically the last month of summer. It's kind of like where you put all your festivals. So for music festival, we have Splore, for example. For a sports festival, we have like the Rugby Sevens, and for cultural festivals, we do have either the Festival of Lanterns in Auckland, and we also have Waitangi Day in New Zealand. So I was really curious, and I wanted to ask you guys, what kind of festival are you more into? Do you prefer sports festival, music festival, or cultural festival? So I really would love for you guys to vote in the poll, and at the end of the video, in an hour, we're going to be checking out what you guys have voted for. So make sure to head to the poll and vote. In the meantime, let's see what Bucks is saying.
Bucks is saying, Morena, I have a flight booked for mid-February. Are international flights resuming at the Auckland airport?
Yeah, they are slowly resuming for sure at the international airport. There was only like a complete closure for only a couple of days. So yeah, what you see in the media and the way the media cover kind of those kind of weather events is always in like the most dramatic way. So yes, there has been some, landslip and everything like that, and some flooding and everything. But for example, at the Auckland airport, it was just a small section of a terminal that was just that, right? The rest of the airport was fine. So yes, they still need to assess the situation and deal with it, but it's not like the entire airport wasn't completely flooded under waves and waves and waves of water, right? Just to make that really, really clear. Okay, what do we have? Fabio says, question of the day. Woo! Question of the day.
Still got our little traditional jingle in there.
Matu-X posted a video on our Patreon exclusive Facebook group of him working at a local swimming pool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, we had fun.
Thanks for sharing that with us, Matu-X. That was really fun to watch.
And Fabio confirms our information and says, New Zealand already said they're kind of on track again. They're working through a bit of a backlog, but they're kind of on track. All right, everybody, we are going to be starting with our weather coverage for February in New Zealand with the typical temperatures in New Zealand. Laura, let's get started. All right, ta-da! Okay, so in New Zealand, the weather in February is a summer weather, right? Something that people need to be aware of is that, we have the opposite season than in the Northern Hemisphere. So the temperature in New Zealand will be able to reach as high as 25 degrees Celsius, which is 77 degrees Fahrenheit. And as low as 10 degrees Celsius, which is 50 degrees Fahrenheit in like the really cooler night. If you go over Northland region, which is the top of the north island of New Zealand, it can go as high as 30 degrees Celsius, which is 86 degrees Fahrenheit, quite regularly around the month of February. So because New Zealand has a lot of different climate, it's surrounded with water, let's go over the different regions and let's go over the typical temperatures for New Zealand in February. And those are averages over the last 10 years. So let's start with northern New Zealand, which is Northland, Auckland, Tauranga. And that will be about 20 degrees Celsius, which is about 68 degrees Fahrenheit. In central North Island, which is Hamilton, Taupo, and Rotorua, that will be 18 degrees Celsius, which is around 64 degrees Fahrenheit. If we look at the southwest North Islands, that's New Plymouth, Palmerston North, and even Wellington, that will be around 18 degrees Celsius, which is 64 degrees Fahrenheit on average in February. When we're looking at the eastern North Island, that would be Gisborne, Napier, and Wairarapa. That will be about 20 degrees Celsius, which is 68 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so let's move on with the average temperature on the South Island of New Zealand. Starting with the northern South Island, with the town of Blenheim, Nelson, that's usually around 18 degrees Celsius, which is 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Sorry, that's so many numbers, guys. Then we're having the western Southland, which is Westport, Hokitika, Milford Sound. Then we're talking about 15 degrees Celsius, which is 59 degrees Fahrenheit. In the eastern South Islands, which is Kaikoura, Christchurch, and Timaru, we're looking at 18 degrees Celsius, which is 64 degrees Fahrenheit. In the inland South Islands, we're talking about Lake Tekapo, Alexandra, Queenstown. That's 15 to 18 degrees Celsius, which is 59 to 64 degrees Fahrenheit. And finally, we're going to look all the way down to the southern New Zealand with Dunedin and Invercargill. And that will be around 15 degrees Celsius, which is around 59 degrees Fahrenheit. All right. Here we go. So that's what you can expect for the weather in New Zealand around February when it comes down to temperatures. Again, if you do have any travel questions for traveling in New Zealand, we'd be super happy to help you out. We're here for that. But otherwise, we continue with talking about February. Exploring with Joey is here.
Exploring with Joey.
Fabio says weather in February is still great. It's quite funny that I will go skiing next Saturday and you have summer weather. Yeah, it's really quite interesting. So if you guys don't know, Fabio is all the way in Austria, so obviously in Europe, where it's the peak of the ski season right now. So fun times. You better share some shots. We haven't seen powder here in a while since we had such a mild. Yeah, we had such a mild winter. So in the mountain nearby, we didn't have any snow. So yeah. Bucks says, thank you so much. Looking forward to beautiful New Zealand. When are you coming? What's your plan? Give us a bit of context, Bucks.
Mid-February is coming.
Mid-February, you said?
Yes, yeah. And that's when his flight's booked.
That's true. What are you up to in New Zealand?
Yeah.
And Exploring with Joy said, that's some amazing weather girl movement, Laura.
Yeah.
I don't really see. I didn't see what you were doing.
I feel like I'm more entertaining myself than everyone else, but, I hope it's still
Are you doing some
right.
TikTok dancing
I'm just sort of do some different hand movements and... doing everything I can to make sure that you guys know where we're looking at.
Yes. All right. So now what we're going to be doing is that I'm going to pass it on to Laura. So she'll be able to give you a few travel tips for New Zealand in February. She will give you about 5 to 6 different tips to make your trip in New Zealand in February as easy as possible. And also something you really do need to know if you happen to travel to New Zealand in February. So, without further ado, Laura, over to you.
All right. So, number 1 tip for February is make sure you apply and reapply sunscreen. So, the UV rays in New Zealand are really harsh. They're a lot harsher than in other countries, especially if you're coming from the northern hemisphere. A lot of people do notice that the UV rays and the getting sunburn is so much easier in New Zealand compared to other countries. So do make sure that you bring plenty of sunscreen and or cover up when you're out in that hot sun. Another tip is to make sure that you have insect repellent with you, or ways to basically make sure that you cover up from sandfly bites in particular. Sandflies leave a bit of an itchy bite and it's really uncomfortable and stuff. So, you can easily avoid that with some nice insect repellent. We do have recommendations on nzpocketguide.com. Another tip is to make sure you book your accommodation and even your activities as far in advance as possible, basically in February, because this is the peak season for tourism in New Zealand because it is sunny, nice weather, everybody's out, even the locals are traveling around the country as well. So you want to make sure, if you want to make sure that you have your first your first choice in accommodation, the first choice in tour that you want to do, make sure that you do book whatever you can as far in advance as possible. Another tip, which is quite surprising for summer, is to make sure that you have an extra layer with you when you are out and about. The weather can change very suddenly, as people are experiencing in New Zealand at the moment. The weather can sometimes be quite unsummery as well. And, you know, when the rain comes down, that means the temperatures can be, you know, feel a bit chillier. Having that extra layer with you, or even when the sun goes in, the temperatures really feel like they drop. So having those extra layers, having that rain jacket even with you in your day pack when you're out and about will really come in handy, trust me. And then finally, if you want to get away from the crowds, if you want to look for some places that are a bit less explored in New Zealand during summer, then look to places like Taranaki, Eastland, which is the Gisborne region, and Southland in the bottom of the South Island.
Nice, thank you very much, Laura, for all those amazing tips. Matthew X says, Axeman in Tokura, I'm going to go to watch them later. Axeman, I don't know what that is. Probably some
is that
sort
like
of
a
sport.
wood chopping competition, I imagine, or something? That sounds fun if it is.
And then we also have Fabio, what is Fabio saying?
Fabio says, kind of the start of the ski season. We had bad skiing weather. First there was no snow, now there is too much and high risk of avalanches. Oh no. A bit of everything there. The weather around the world seems to be going a little bit crazy at the moment.
What are you saying, Ramez? That's insane.
So Ramaz says it is 17 degrees Celsius in Egypt and it's winter.
Wow, that is very, very warm for winter. But I mean, I will expect that for
Egypt.
For Egypt, for sure, yeah. All right, so Mike Keplinger was also saying, your February typical temperatures is very helpful. Thanks. Our tip begins in March 1st in the Bay of Islands and then in March 26th in Dunedin. Can you give us a heads up on what Lisa and I can expect? Yeah, for sure, Mike. So I gave you a link in the live chat right now, which is our typical temperature in New Zealand in March. We will be doing a bit of a video on that. Literally, when are we doing that?
For March?
Yeah.
So
probably
at the
first week of March or last week of February. So we'll do obviously a video on March for sure to help out with that for you and Lisa, because you know that is just easier. Otherwise, what we can do, Mike, is that if you pop into the live session for the Patreon, literally after this one, you know, there's an exclusive live session just for you. If you pop into this one, and I already sent you the link, I will send you the link for the live session on Facebook and by email, literally in about 15 minutes. We will cover, if you want, just together the weather in March, so like that we can go over what we can expect and some travel tips as well, just to make it easier for you, to plan your trip. Because you're Patreon, we can use that section. Right now, we're just going to try to talk mostly about February to not confuse people too much.
Awesome.
If that's okay.
Great perks of Patreon.
Yeah. What is Joey saying?
Joey says, funny story, the night before the Auckland airport flood, I slept on the floor in front of check-in. Oh.
Well, that was good timing. Not doing it on a day later was pretty handy, because I don't think I would have enjoyed. Although it wasn't like as devastating as all the media coverage was trying to make it look like. I mean, come on. But it was quite interesting.
You wouldn't want to wake up with drowning.
Wet feet. All right, speaking of waking up with wet feet, let's check out what happened to Armand during last week. Let's see how he fared with the Auckland flood and Auckland weather. He sent us a video, and so let's check up with him. If you guys don't know, a little bit of context, Armand is a French backpacker that's traveling around New Zealand right now on the gap year, and he's sending us video every single week to see what's up with him. So let's go with Armand, and we'll come back right after that.
Hey guys, so the 17th week of my working holiday was also the third week of work at my new job at Glen Innes, St. John. And one thing I came to notice is that there is a pack and save nearby near my workplace, and it's quite convenient, as I noticed that the prices are significantly cheaper than Countdown and New World. So just wanted to mention that if you happen to stumble upon a pack and save, it makes, in my opinion, more sense to do your grocery shopping there. And I can basically just buy my groceries before going home on my way back after work, you know. Other than that, as you all probably know, we've had quite unprecedented rainfall for the past few days. And on Friday, actually, I got soaked both on my way to work and back from it. And yeah, that was something quite unprecedented. I had never seen any kind of rainfall like this, because even during the day I was at the warehouse slash office, and I could just see the pouring rain. It wouldn't stop, and I was telling myself, yeah, this is something abnormal. Like, this is gonna be problematic, because it just wouldn't stop. And like as I'm recording this now, it's been raining on and off, and the emergency services were clearly overwhelmed, because we can still hear the firefighters' sirens, the trucks all around Auckland city. And I'm just grateful that I'm in the CBD. I have now moved to my new apartment, because my previous apartment in K Road was quite like the neighboring and the surrounding were quite loud and noisy, which is to be expected, because like the apartment was in the shopping center basically. But yeah, I'm just grateful, as I said, that I'm in the CBD and not in the southernmost neighborhoods of Auckland, because I feel like those areas like Epsom, and even we saw the images of the Auckland airport, those were significantly more affected and flooded. As I had booked a massage like pretty much every Friday after work now, I did go to my massage appointment, but in hindsight it was not the wisest thing to do, considering how rainy and like even the visibility was so poor and the cars were just racing. That kind of situation, is best to just stay at home, which is what was recommended actually by the Auckland Emergency Services, or whatever it's called. So I will be going to the Bay of Islands hopefully next week, if the weather is not too bad, to do the sky jump and the scuba diving, and maybe even some kayaking. I'm really looking forward to that. I will keep you guys posted. So until next week, guys, stay safe, stay dry, and keep smiling.
Keep smiling.
Keep smiling. I like when he says that. That's always so cute.
Despite it's raining on his working holiday parade, but I'm glad that he can keep on smiling and still have a good time.
Working on his working sorry,
raining on his working holiday parade.
I love it.
Yeah, so it looks like Ahmed is having still a great time in Auckland, despite it being one of the most chaotic times to be in Auckland. But I mean, that's what happens when you stay somewhere for a whole year in a place. Obviously, there's going to be the good times, and there's also going to be the iffy times as well. That's just going to happen. Like, you know, you spend a whole year somewhere.
I have a quick message from Mike. I did send you the link on Facebook as requested for the Patreon exclusive, like, how do we call that? Spreadsheets to put your itinerary, so we can put some tips and everything on there. And we can even look at it together. If you do it before the live show right now, before the Patreon live show, we'll look at your itinerary together. So
pre-Patreon homework.
Chop, chop, chop. Yeah, okay. All right, what is Sherry saying?
Sherry says, hey guys, sorry I'm late. I might not be able to stay long today. I have a busy morning.
Well, I hope you had a lovely week, Sherry. Thank you so much for popping in. And Kiwi Lauren says about the same thing.
Yeah, Kiwi Lauren says, Kia ora, friends. Can't stay to chat much today, but hello, and I hope you're well. We're very well, thank you. Why is everybody so busy?
Why is everybody so busy?
It's great that you're all busy. I hope it's all good stuff.
Yeah.
But great of you guys to just pop in and say hi. That's really nice.
Yes. All right, So we are going to continue with our coverage of what you can expect from the weather in February, and we're going to go over some of the rainfalls. So rain.
Our favorite topic at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, you saw Armand, right? He was all about the rain. He loves it.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's talk about some more rain.
So, Sherry says not good stuff. Oh, so sorry.
No.
Well, hopefully you make good out of the bad stuff. That's what it's all about in life, isn't it?
Make lemonades out of lemons and stuff like that.
Laura is powering through right now through the live show, and no joke, she actually has 6 stitches on her side. So here you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Fun fact.
Fun fact, she does have 6 stitches. So here you go.
Yeah. All right.
I have found very entertaining taking photos of her stitches every single day when I change a band-aid to see to get it to improve, and I want to kind of do like a fade and to see it improve. I don't know, I'm just bored, I guess. But yeah, I found that really entertaining. Anyway, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. We are talking about the weather in New Zealand in February, and right now we're going to talk about the average rainfall. So let's get started. Okay, so in New Zealand in February, there is still some rain, right? Misconception, it is summer in New Zealand, yes, but there is still some rain for sure, because New Zealand always has rain, because that's what makes our country so beautiful. So, throughout New Zealand, you can expect quite a significant amount of rain around the country for sure during February. So let's go over what you can expect rain-wise. But let's first start about daylight hours, because everybody tend to put daylight hours in the same boat as rainfall for some reason. So, yes, I don't know why. So, let's get started with, usually you are going to get sunrise around 6:30 a.m. and you're going to get a sunset around 7:30 p.m. and you're going to get a ton of rain. Let's get started with northern New Zealand. Okay, in northern New Zealand, northern Auckland and Tauranga, you can expect 110 millimeters of rain, which is about 4 inches if you use that system. In central North Island, which is Hamilton, Taupo and Rotorua, you can expect around 80 millimeters of rain, which is about 3 inches. Southwest North Island, we're talking about New Plymouth, Palmerston North and even Wellington, that's around 60 millimeters of rain, which is about 2 inches. Pretty sure we already had that yesterday. But moving on. In eastern North Island, in Gisborne, Napier and Wairarapa, you can expect 60 millimeters of rain, which is about 2 inches. Let's move on to our beautiful South Island of New Zealand with northern South Island with Blenheim and Nelson. Laura is having a blast. So this is the place. This is one of the places where you're going to get the least amount of rain, and that will be about 30 millimeters of rain, which is about 1 inches. In western South Island, that's Westport, Hokitika, and the always drenched Milford Sound, we can expect 160 to 500 millimeters of rain, which is between 6 to 20 inches. That's a broad spectrum right here. In eastern South Island, in Kaikoura, Christchurch, and Timaru, you can expect 40 millimeters of rain, which is 1.5 inches. In inland South Island, Lake Tekapo, Queenstown and Alexandra, this is the driest it can get in New Zealand. That's February, and that is 20 millimeters of rain, which is about 0.8 inches. And finally, in southern New Zealand, Dunedin and Invercargill, without forgetting beautiful Stewart Island, that's about 60 millimeters of rain, which is about 2 inches. All right. Nope, here. Yes, here. No, oh, here we go. I didn't mock that up at all. Ramez said in April and May, expensive months to stay in New Zealand. Is April and May expensive?
Not particularly.
Nothing to do with the weather in February. That's so
but in
good.
terms of like the best time to come to New Zealand, it is more the shoulder season. So it's between the winter season, which is usually the cheapest time to come to New Zealand, and the summer season, which is the most expensive time. So you're hitting like a good spot in the middle where usually car rentals or bus tours are a little bit.
They start to get discounted because it's less of the busy season, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, it is a great month to travel around New Zealand for sure.
Actually, I would actually say, Ramesh, that this is my favorite time to travel in New Zealand, actually, because I do not like traveling in New Zealand during the high season. It gets quite busy. And yes, New Zealand doesn't have like 1 million tourists. Actually, we do have 1 million tourists, but doesn't have like, really, really like huge amount of tourists compared to other places, that can get really, really busy, such as Las Vegas and everything, like things like that around the world, or what you can see somewhere in Thailand. but we also have like much smaller infrastructures. So when a place has a 2 bus full of tourists, it feels really busy.
Yeah.
And so I do like that feeling of not being like that super busy. I mean, Ramesh, you're from Egypt, right? I don't know how busy it gets in front of those the pyramids of Giza, right? But I guess you would have droves and droves and droves of tourists, but the space is really, really large, right? We don't necessarily have that in New Zealand. The infrastructure just don't match the amount of tourists that we get. So I do prefer traveling within those off-peak months, and I think you'll have more fun in there.
For sure.
Yeah, and so that's why when we have people, so as part of our Patreon supporters, so you can support us on Patreon. It starts at like $5 a month. It's very small, and you can cancel anytime. And as part of that, we kind of advise on the itinerary, right? And usually the first thing that we say is like, try to come not in the peak season. That's the first thing that we start, and then after we help with the itinerary, like we're gonna do with Mike. I bet Mike right now is like frantically doing his homework, so we can do. I'm sorry, Mike, to stress you. You still have like 30 minutes. You're sweet. Yeah. Most high school students will start their homework about 30 minutes before it's due, so you are ahead of them already. You have 33 minutes. What is Fabio having to say?
Fabio makes a very controversial statement saying, I would say nobody should visit New Zealand during winter.
You know why he's saying that? Because he's coming to New Zealand in winter and he wants to see no one.
Ah, right. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, cheeky
right,
bugger.
More like I didn't see what you were doing, but now I do.
I didn't spell it out at all for Laura, at all. All right, everybody, remember that we have a question for you in the live chat right now. If you haven't voted yet, we would love to know what?
What? We would like to know what type of festival you are most interested by. Is it sports? Is it a music festival? Or perhaps a cultural festival? Make sure you put your votes in the poll, because every vote counts for this very important poll.
Very important poll. Ramesh says, don't talk about crowded places. There is about 20 million only in Cairo during winter. Okay, maybe you'll find everything very empty. I mean, if you give me context like that, Ramesh, obviously we have very different scales of being able to take on tourists. And to be quite honest, like before I arrived in New Zealand, right, I spent a bit of time in Hong Kong. And obviously coming to New Zealand, when people say something is busy or people say there is a queue, right, we complain when there's like 3 people ahead of you in a queue, right? It's kind of like, oh my gosh, they need more workers, blah, blah, right? So yeah, obviously you have like kind of difference, a kind of a level of tolerance, I'd say, for like people. So yeah, and also like again, just to specify, right, Egypt probably winter is your busy tourist season, right? We cover a lot of travel in the South Pacific, and their winter is the busy season, right? So I guess that for you, Egypt winter. Your busy season, because you get people that escape the cold, want to come to Egypt. You have also more bearable temperatures. So that would be my guess, right? You're going to come in New Zealand in April and May, which is not our busy season. So on top of it, you're not going to have those flocks. So I think you'll be perfectly fine. And I think you're never going to find that New Zealand's going to be that busy around that time of the year. I say, yeah.
Yeah, and it's less expensive, which is more the question you were asking, if it would be like an expensive time. Yeah. And it's far less expensive than it would be during summer months like January and February and December. Fabio
agrees with me on the reason why Egypt is so busy around that time.
Yeah.
Sherry is saying, no one goes in October, it's really bad. Sherry also is traveling in October. No, New Zealand is great in October. Aha. So here you go. Kiwi Lorenz says 148 days and counting until I'm coming. Woohoo! Can't wait to see new sights and old friends.
Nice.
She's excited. So I like what she said. I'm just popping in to say hi, but then I also need to give you my
also
count.
need to brag, right? I'm coming very, very soon.
Less than half a year. That's exciting. That's exciting. Okay. Fabio says, I think Egypt has only shoulder or high season. During summer, there are millions, I think, of families, and during winter there are millions of couples. So there you go. Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, we also, same thing when we travel in the South Pacific, where we always try to hit like the non-busy season as well. So, we're always happy. Oh, you guys saw it. I mean, Fabio, I know you're on Patreon, so you saw our adventures under the rain. So the non-busy season in the South Pacific is the wet season. Yep. But that, we don't mind the rain. I actually love the rain. When you're really, really hot, damn, it's just so good.
Sherry's countdown is just over 8 months until she comes to New Zealand. There's still
if
quite a lot to go.
If you don't get yourself really pumped, Sherry, there are some phone apps that you can get that will kind of like count days until a certain date, so you can say like travel.
I've seen those, but I always feel that feels like it's making time go slower because you're always.
It's like looking at the clock when you're like, we're eating in an hour, and Laura's counting the minutes.
It's like watching the kettle boil, and you're like, I can't wait for my tea, but the kettle's still boiling. You know, do you get that?
Animal English. I can't wait for my wet sock in a cup. Fantastic.
Dissing the tea always.
Oh, tea's the worst.
Ramesh says it's around 30 to 35 degrees in summer. Oh my gosh. And Joey says, did I mention I got paid while traveling?
Oh,
no,
fun
you did
times.
not mention
What happened
that.
to you? To tell us the story.
Yeah.
Ramesh said it's around, so 30 to 35 degrees in summer. I think it's similar to the temperature that we have when we travel in the South Pacific, right? Those kind of temperature with rain.
It's more like the highs are more like
32 something.
32, yeah.
We have experienced this kind of temperature, but we're blessed with a lot of rain when we travel in the South Pacific, which is always good because it cools you down.
And island climates, which means nice breezes coming
also
through
a lot
and
of
stuff like
wind,
that.
Fabio says, I haven't even booked his flight yet, so here you go. He's still waiting for that good deal.
Ooh.
Lauren says, yes, I will be in and out during this session, but I had to say hi and share travel excitement. Obviously,
we expect that every week from you, Kiwi Lauren.
Yes. All right. Why is Expo?
Joey says, sold some photos and made a promo video for my accommodation in National Park. Very nice. Which accommodation did you stay with in National Park, Joey?
And Kiloran says, it's the old saying, watch pot never boil. So true, Laura.
Yes, it is so true.
There you go. All right. I don't think I've ever heard that expression. I was like, okay, it's a saying.
You probably don't care about that in France, but man, we care about that in the UK.
Adventure Lodge stayed.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Okay. So now we're going to continue with our coverage of the travel tips for traveling in February. Yeah. And we're going to cover our best, our favorite places to visit in New Zealand in February. But before, Christine is here. That's been a long time.
Yeah. Hi, Christine. She says, aloha.
Aloha.
I miss New Zealand. Would love to come back to visit. We've been having heavy rain in Hawaii too. It's flooding and thunderstorms today.
Oh no.
Man.
Well, just give it a couple of weeks until pop into New Zealand for better weather. Just a couple of weeks will be good.
Might be nicer in autumn.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So, our favorite place or best places to visit in New Zealand in February. Let's get started with Laura.
All right, a really good place to go to if you want, beaches, place to go swimming, snorkeling, going on boat trips, that sort of thing, then the Bay of Islands is a great spot to go check out during February.
A bit of a cop-out, but very close to the Bay of Islands in the Northland region of New Zealand, there is the town of Whangarei. The town of Whangarei is really cool to visit in February because it gives you that nice little summer vibe. There is some amazing paddleboarding spots, and you can also do scuba diving, and it's one of my favorite scuba diving spots in the whole country around the Poor Knight Island. If you're more into hiking, you can hike up Mount Manaya. Just be careful, if it rains, the stairways can be a little slippery.
I'm sure you have a story behind that, Robin. And it is on YouTube to watch, guys, if you want to check it out. Anyway, another really cool place, a completely different change of scenery. Go to Aoraki Mount Cook National Park, which is in the South Island. And here you'll see amazing mountains, which still have snow right on the mountain tops because that's where the highest mountains in New Zealand are. But it's usually better weather to do some of those mountain hikes that are usually unsafe to do if it is bad weather. And it's just really good weather and place to enjoy all those walks.
In the Hawke's Bay region on the North Island of New Zealand, you're going to get plenty of sunshine hours. It's actually one of the highest amount of sunshine hours, monthly in the country at that time of the year. Plus, on top of that, there is the Art Deco Festival happening in a small town of Napier, which is not to be missed. And if you want to sprinkle a bit of adventure there, you can add some mountain biking. There's some really great trail around there. And obviously February being, good weather is a good time to go and explore that. And if you feel like treating yourself, there is some amazing world-class wine tasting to do in the Hawke's Bay region.
And finally, right at the bottom of the South Island is the island of Stewart Island, which is about 80% of it is a national park. So it's a great place to get outdoors. There's many hiking trails, boat trips to do. And again, being summer, it's a great time to experience the highest temperatures that you're going to get on Stewart Island, because technically it is a subantarctic island. So it can be a bit chilly sometimes. But yeah, great place to get outdoors and enjoy the scenery.
Seems that there was a lot of terms and conditions attached to your last pick, as you say. We must some Antarctic and yeah, but the weather, but yeah.
It can get a little bit chilly down there. But,
oh no, what's
Hey
going on?
guys,
Oh my God.
so the 17th week of my working holiday was also the third week of work at the...
Here we go.
Sorry.
So Laura, a lot of sass at the end of this segment.
Wow.
Man, oh man.
There's a certain word I want to use to describe this type of show, but I don't think YouTube would like it.
No. Yeah, we'll have to do a
Begins with
bleep
an
show.
S as well.
It's a bleep show.
Yeah.
Sorry about it. Oh, come on. It's one mistake every week. Just one mistake. It's fine. It's absolutely okay.
Wow. I don't think so, Robin. Anyway, Fabio is our producer here, says, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, everybody loves the nice S show. You know, everybody... The NZ Travel S. Anyway, at least we entertain Joey. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Oh my. Anyway, okay. By the way, if you guys want to check out Joey's work, you know, he said that he's got some good photos and he sold some and he did a video for Adventure Lodge. If you want to check that out, you can find him on Instagram at Exploring with Joey with an X.
Yeah, look at his username right now.
Look at his username in the chat. In the chat we play. Oh, somewhere next to Laura. Somewhere next to Laura, it should be on screen. Yeah, there's username right here, so that's handy as. Okay, all right. So another thing that we want to share with you about traveling in New Zealand in February is obviously a packing list. There are some essentials that you cannot forget when traveling in New Zealand in February, and the travel expert, that is Laura, is going to cover that for you.
All right, so just a quick list of some sort of seasonal things to pack for your time during February, which is during summer in New Zealand. Of course, the number one thing you want to pack is high factor sunscreen, and enough because you will be reapplying it quite a lot. Another thing to bring is insect repellent. Make sure that those pesky little sandflies don't bite you too much. Also some light clothing. So you want to have sort of clothing that not only dries quickly if it does rain on you, and then once it rains, the nice warm breeze will hopefully dry it out really quickly. So that's one reason for light clothing. But light clothing that covers up, your legs and arms is also a good way to protect yourself from the sun and from sandflies and mosquitoes as well. We also recommend taking at least one warm layer with you in your luggage to New Zealand, even when it is summer, when it is February, because those temperatures can change quite dramatically. Even between day and night, it can feel much cooler once the sun goes behind the clouds, because most of that heat really feels like it comes just from the sun rather than sort of the air temperatures. So yeah, make sure that you do have at least one warm layer, but probably a little bit more just in case. Of course, a rain jacket is another essential to bring, even in February, even in summer, because as you well know from the theme of this whole live show today, it does rain in summer in New Zealand. Hiking shoes, obviously, a lot of amazing outdoor experiences to be had in New Zealand. And yeah, having a good pair of hiking shoes or hiking boots if you prefer. Make sure that you are comfortable when you're out on the walking trails, or even just out and about doing some sightseeing. It usually takes you to a few shorter walks as well if you're not really into hiking. But yeah, just having a good pair of shoes, make sure that you're comfortable the whole time. And finally, swimwear. Whether you want to go swimming at the beach or having a dip in a nice refreshing lake, or even hot pools if you don't want to get too cold. There's lots of opportunities for swimming in New Zealand, especially during summer, but also if you want to do those adventure activities like whitewater rafting and canyoning, you'll need your swimwear for those as well. And that's it.
Hiking boots, says Fabio.
Yes.
very excited. And Joey is happy with the plugin. By the way, Joey, I don't know if you have sent your photos. You know that we once you're home, we look at photos of your trip after your trip, like Tamo did and Christina did and everything. So yeah, maybe you understand that. That'd be fun. That'd be a fun.
Can dedicate a Patreon live session to looking through your trip, and we always have great fun doing that, or at least Robin does, because sometimes I'm not always there.
Joey says sunscreen. I got burned in Rarotonga, and insect repellent didn't do too much in Raro. I got bitten hips. I use plenty of repellent. So did you use the chemical one, like the one with the spray? We find that those ones don't work. We find a natural one. I show them all the time. Like I'm always showing like which brand, and the roll-on one. Well, I find those one works very, very well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the one we kind of tend to use until they run out, and then we have to buy local ones.
Yeah, make sure you take plenty with you. Yeah. That's the thing. Like if you find a really good brand that you really like,
buy them in droves.
Exactly, because once you get overseas, and you often
Speaking of that, I need to buy some more. I need to send myself a quick reminder on that.
Oh yeah. We need to do another.
You say I use the sprays, no good still. Yeah, I use the roll-on one that is from a brand called Murphy's. I can show it to you during the Patreon show. I'll stop and go and get that.
Yeah, no, we have had not too much problem with the roll-on ones.
No, that would be really good, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing also, you need to keep on reapplying. And that's why I keep on also stating as well that it's a good idea to pack light, long sleeve clothing, or, pants that, go all the way down your leg and stuff. Even in summer, that can really be a huge help in protecting you against the sun and the insects as well. Then you find that, if you've got socks on, between where your socks are and your pants, it's usually there's a little bit of skin there where they can come and peck away, and it's really annoying. But yeah, just long sleeve clothing is also really a good way to do it if you find that insect repellent isn't working for you.
Fabio says, I really tried to advertise Patreon, but YouTube does not want to show. Yeah, because YouTube want to get, so any money that donation that you go through YouTube takes 45% of that, right? So YouTube is not happy for people to go on Patreon, which Patreon only take between 15 and 18%, which is therefore much better for creator. YouTube fights really hard against Patreon right now to try to make as much money as they can, because greedy Google. So for this reason, they try to block a little bit, pushing Patreon too much for sure. But yeah. So yeah, I'm not surprised. But yeah, guys, join us on Patreon. It's cheap and it's really fun. Seriously, you won't regret it. And you get plenty of perks. We give you so many perks. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sherry says, where's the worst place for sandflies? I'd say the Abel Tasman National Park. What would you say?
No, definitely the West Coast.
Oh, you say West Coast?
Between, down the West Coast and down to Milford Sound. Oh yeah, I feel
I think the Abel Tasman National Park has a lot of them.
I was surprised at how little there was there.
Okay.
I even went in summer, and you expect sandflies to just by the name for them to be in the beaches and stuff, but no, where there is more stagnant water, rocky beaches, that sort of thing, where the water gets stuck between the rocks and things, the sandflies can be crazy in those sort of places. So definitely as you can tell, I strongly disagree. The West Coast it's they're ravenous down there.
I think Logra is going to get a few more stitches if you continue to disagree right here.
Oh, gosh.
We're gonna have to fight it off right here. Okay. What do we have? Exploring with Joey says, I sprayed the entire bottle almost and still got eaten like a human buffet. Oh, you must be tasty, my friend. You must be really tasty.
Yeah.
Okay, Fabio says, if you want to have all the goodies for NZ, you could possibly think of even the famous cardboard games. From Robin and Laura, you can go to Patreon and enter the squad. It's a crew, not a squad, but yes, I agree. So we made a bit of a car game that you can use when you travel around New Zealand. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get that as well. It's on Patreon. We got 120 posts on Patreon, ton, heaps. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, plenty of stuff for you guys.
Thanks for the plug-in.
Fabio, you rock. You rock.
Baby Burns is here.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I just
no. I'm always a little bit embarrassed to kind of plug ourselves a little too much. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'll talk to you about something that we're thinking of doing during the next Patreon live show if we have time. So that'd be quite fun.
Ooh, exclusive content coming your way.
You know what it is? No, you know what it is.
I have one small guess.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's
That's
right.
probably that.
All right. Baby Burns is here saying, "Hey guys, what's up? We're good. How are you, Baby Burns?"
Yes. We're not even wet right now. We're staying indoor.
Yeah. We did have a sunny day yesterday, was it?
Yes, we actually did.
We
That
did.
was well. We had half the day, so.
And we actually celebrated. We were like, we are going to celebrate by, okay, the way we celebrate is to make ourselves burgers. But we celebrated with burgers because we're like, it's finally sunny and nice weather. Like, we were so happy about it.
Yeah, we were chatting with the neighbors outside. It was just fun.
It was great.
Fun. Explain with Joey says, I think you have to say it so he can record it.
Yeah,
and be happy with
everyone wants a slice of me, winky face.
All right. Okay, so remember, you have only about like 5 more minutes to vote in our poll. We want to know what kind of festival you're the most interested into. So interested to when traveling news are interested in.
Interested in.
Interested in. Here you go. That's the word. Words are hard. So what kind of festival are you more interested in when traveling in New Zealand? Sports festival, music festival, or cultural festival? We'd love to know. Vote, vote, vote. Christine says, I would love to come when there is a cultural festival. When do they normally have the Kapahaka or Poli festival?
Ooh, I think it might be either February or March.
Yeah, Polyfest is.
Yeah, we'll have to look at. We do have an article on nzpocketguide.com, which is the events which we update at the beginning of every single year, so you guys can see when the next festivals are coming up. The Pacifica Festival, which is quite similar, is in Auckland between on the 13th and 14th of March.
And Polyfest is the 23rd to 26th of March, so here you go.
And they're both happening in Auckland, so they're really good festivals celebrating the Pacific Islands cultures, so across the whole Pacific, including Maori culture, Cook Islands, Samoan, and it's great.
And when it comes to Kapahaka, they really are a little bit all over the place, so we can't really kind of predict or tell you, this is when they are.
But in all those festivals that we just talked about right now, they do Kapahaka performances during them, so you still get to see Kapahaka, which is the Maori style of dancing. You'll get to see those at all those festivals, as well as if you do any sort of Maori evening tours and shows, like if you go to Rotorua and do like Te Puia, Tamaki Maori Village, Mitai Maori Village, they all do cultural performances, which include Kapahaka performances as well.
Fabio is asking, what would be your favorite festival in February? Mine literally is celebrating Waitangi Day, and I think Laura's about the same.
Yeah, so that's definitely the
fried bread, baby.
Yeah, the best thing that we've done. There's a few different Waitangi events that happen like across the country on Waitangi Day, which is the 6th of February, if I'm correct.
I think because it's tomorrow.
Yeah. Really, obviously, a really good one is in the Bay of Islands at the Waitangi Treaty Grounds. That's the biggest one because that's where the event basically has spurred from. But also, interestingly, we went to a really cool one in O'Kane's Bay, which is between Akaroa and Christchurch. And they had all sorts of really cool cultural events happening there to do with the Maori culture. And it was just really interesting as obviously people from overseas checking out sort of traditions like that being played out. They did a hangi, they were paddling a big waka, which is a traditional canoe, all this sort of thing. So it was really, really interesting to see that. So that's definitely been our favorite thing to check out in February. But there's obviously some huge festivals that you can go and check out, like, there's Splor, which is a music festival in Raglan, I believe. It has gone between Raglan and Hamilton over the past year, so I think it's back in Raglan. It's more of a family-friendly event, but with music as well. So there's all that sort of thing happening too. Like I say, check out nzpocketguide.com for our list of events happening this year in 2023 to check out some of the things happening.
Joey, don't need to send them to me by email. Just do one, do it on the Facebook group and just put like as many photos you want, and we'll go over them during the next Patreon live show. Just do like Tamo and Christina did. You can go up to 80. Just put them on there. I think that the quality doesn't really matter too much. It's going to be in live video, and the quality of the live video is just nah. So yeah, just do a slideshow on Facebook. That'll be the easiest one. Anthony's here.
Anthony's here. He says, sorry I'm running late, but Morena from Rodeo, California. Oh, in a couple of seconds, Anthony
gonna have to
was
do
going to
your
have
sentence.
to do his other traditional sentence that he does for every one of our live sessions. So glad you could make it, even if it was at the end, Anthony.
Whoosh Air says, hi, I am from a warm country. I'm shifting to Auckland next week. In winters in Auckland, what type of clothes do you wear? So we definitely wear a rain jacket, and then depending on what's your tolerance to cold weather, you wear 1 or 2 jumper underneath. So jumper is like a sweater. So I personally used to wear like a rain jacket, and then a merino wool jumper, and then underneath I had like either my shirt and like one of those V-neck jumper with that. I was a bit more fancy dressed than what I am right now, but that's usually what you're going to be wearing in there. And as Fabio says, Kiwis, they wear shorts and shirts all year round with gumboots. They'll be outside of Auckland. In Auckland they do like to play it.
They're more
posh.
city folk in
Yeah,
Auckland.
city folks.
But yeah, in terms of pants, you just like a pair of jeans is usually what people are wearing, just like long pants during winter. Luckily, Auckland definitely isn't the coldest part of New Zealand during winter, so you don't necessarily have to worry about big puffer jackets, nothing too extreme in terms of keeping yourself warm, but like Robin says, definitely a jumper, sweater, hoodie, just a long sort of mid-layer is going to probably be just about enough, and then having a rain jacket for the inevitable rain that will come in Auckland is good too.
Joey is adamant he doesn't. He has time lapses and the peak quality is too good to miss. Yeah, but it's just the broadcasting is like in maximum of 720p at the moment, so it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, and Wusha says thank you, Fabio. So here you go. Oi buff. Sorry, I keep on saying Fabio, but Oi buff 1420. Obviously, let's just call it by his real internet name.
Cool. So
Sherry says it was lovely to see you guys. See you next week. Have a good week. Bye bye, Sherry. Thank you so much for popping in. That was awesome. And I'm not sure what Fabio is talking about. But yeah.
He says chilly days and nights from Arthur's Pass town. Yes, it would be. It's that's kind of up in the mountains.
Yeah. What are we talking about Arthur's Pass town though? I'm completely lost.
Just so you know, guys.
Yes.
There's another place that's chilly. Unlike Auckland, Arthur's Pass town is quite the bit chillier than Auckland is.
All right. Poll of the day. Let's close it in and see what you guys voted for. Are you guys ready? Like one last vote. Quick. Okay. It's done.
That's it.
It's done.
That's
I'm closing it. It's over.
All right, the votes are in.
The votes are in. Okay, so we asked you, what type of festival are you more interested by? Number one answer with 52% was cultural festival, which is really interesting. I tend to agree with that.
I absolutely agree with that
Which is
too.
very rare. Usually you guys vote for something I always disagree with. So here you go. Music festival came second at 26%, and then last will be sports festival at 21%. Would that be your ranking?
That would be my ranking for sure.
Nice.
I'm much more of a, I'm much more interested in culture and music than I am sports, I have to admit.
And then there was 19 people voting. Whoosh Air say, and thank you to you both as well. That was helpful with the top hat. Oh. I think the top hat is a little bit overdoing it in New Zealand, but I do appreciate a good emoji. I do appreciate that.
Wear a top hat in Auckland.
Yes.
And people will remember you.
Fabio is laughing. 4 people voted for sports, indeed. And Fabio says, stay safe, but I'm here until the end, indeed. That is kind of our cue to wrap up this show. Fabio is like deconstructing all the, I can see that, right? I can tell you if you want.
No, let him work it out himself. It's a good exercise.
I know. He needs to work on his math. He's not really that good on math, so yeah. Fabio says, I voted for sports. No, you didn't. You can't vote for sports. So boring. All right. I just spoke my mind. Truth bomb. All right, everybody. It is the end of this live show. I hope that you learned a lot about the New Zealand weather and weather pattern for February. Usually we have Adil saying, what is next week's theme? So I'll do it for him.
What is next week's
What
theme?
is next week's theme,
I
Laura?
don't know.
You don't know.
Tell
I don't
me.
know. No, I know. It's all about glaciers. So we're going to talk about all the glaciers in New Zealand, or at least the 3 glaciers that are easy to visit in New Zealand. We'll compare them. We'll talk about them. We'll give you some tips for each of them. So yeah, if you're planning on doing any heli hiking or glacier exploring or walked toward like glacier face, all these kind of things, we will get that covered next week. Exciting times ahead. So yeah. No, we're not going to talk about all the 19 glaciers, Fabio. Just 3 of them.
There's more than 19 glaciers.
Yeah, there's
Fabio.
a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
All right, awesome.
In the meantime, you guys have an awesome week, and we see you next time. Oh yeah, Patreon's live session happening right now. So if you are not on Patreon, join us then. There's a link in the description. If you are on Patreon, well, jump on the live show. It's gonna be fun. See you soon. Bye bye.
See you next week.